What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Inder's Notes. I wanted to make this video as a follow-up to my last Inder's Notes where we discussed why you might not be enjoying Pokemon Unite as much. And it got a lot of attention. I got a lot of comments. You guys left a lot of good feedback. And I agree with you. The game feels a little crummy right now, and a lot of people aren't having fun. That being said, I still play this game almost every day. I compete in tournaments, I stream the game, I play solo queue, I go onto the practice tool like I am right now just to mess around and see what I can do. I just enjoy moving my character around. I don't know, it's satisfying to me. And I wanted to make a video on why I enjoy Pokemon Unite and why I think you might as well. First of all, Pokemon Unite fulfills the Pokemon fantasy. I think this is one of the biggest things that we take for granted. A lot of times people use the fact that, oh, Pokemon Unite's a Pokemon game, and if it wasn't a Pokemon game, you wouldn't enjoy it as much as a negative or a fault of the game. But I think that only strengthens the reason why I love this game. Everything kind of feels intuitive. The Pokemon interact in a way that I feel like they would interact. And if I show someone this game that is familiar with the Pokemon IP, they just kind of get it, you know? If you're familiar with Hoopa, you watch the Hoopa movie or you watch any Hoopa content, it just feels like I'm a trickster. I'm in my portal, I'm out of my portal, I can take my Phantom Forest, I'm in and I'm out, you know, or Greninja, for example. Greninja's got Surf, but Blastoise has Surf, Slowbro has Surf, a bunch of different Pokemon have Surf, Cramorant has Surf, but they all kind of work differently. And Greninja feels like a ninja, you know? It's got a shared move in Surf, but it's also got its unique move and its Water Shuriken, and it's got its Unite move, which is an even bigger Shuriken. Pokemon just kind of seem to make sense, and there's an aspect of that that's just enjoying to me. Another thing is that it's one of the only team-based Pokemon games. You know, while you can play with your friends in VGC, you can compete against them. Nowadays, you can co-op the story, which is all right. In the trading card game, you can play against your friends. And various different side games, you know, have different ways to interact with your friends, but most of the time you're playing against them or you're trading with them. You're never side by side with your friends in the front line, just going at it and trying to, you know, accomplish a similar goal. And for me, that makes Pokemon Unite special. Again, it can be one of the downsides when you're playing solo queue and you have teammates that, you know, are less than ideal, but you know, we've all been there. We've all been that teammate before as well. So I just love the fact that it's a team-based game. It's simple, but it's also complex at the same time, right? Yes, I have 1, 2, 3 in my battle move, maybe sometimes 4 in your passive ability, and then a Unite move. So maybe at most you'll have 5 different buttons you have to worry about. Most of the time it's just 3 or 4. The game can feel very, very easy. A lot of characters are tanky. Not a lot of characters seem very complex on their own. And if you compare it to MOBAs like League of Legends, Dota, Heroes of the Storm, those characters in those games, at minimum, sometimes they'll have 6 abilities to worry about. And at most, you know, I played characters in Dota that would have almost 12 buttons you'd have to worry about. You'd have your 3 moves, you'd have your ultimate, you'd have 6 item slots, you know, and things could get out of hand very, very quickly. But at the same time, Pokemon Unite is a short game. It's 10 minutes long, which means that 1 minute of the game accounts for 10% of the game, which means that, you know, a couple seconds of the game accounts for, you know, a single % of the game, which is unlike any other MOBA I've ever played. It means that, you know, you can make one misstep and the entire game can be cost, you know. Not to say that that doesn't happen in other games, one mistake can cost you the whole game, but in Pokemon Unite, all of that is heightened. You know, you need to be on top of your game. Mispositioning once in the early game in a competitive game can snowball the entire game away, and it can be hard to come back. And I know Rayquaza or Zapdos makes it feel like anyone can win at any time, and while that is true, if you just think about that in the same vein, it makes it incredibly hard to be a consistent winner in the game, because you have so many different things that could act against you. But at the same time, when we see, you know, some of the really best teams in the world, and I've been there myself, where, you know, you can win consistently. You just have to be on top of your game. You can't afford to make any mistakes. And something about that just adds magic to the game. I just enjoy the fact that the game can be so simple but so complex at the same time. You know, I talked about the game being short and that adding to the complexity of the game. That's also just something I love about Pokemon Unite. If you've ever played League of Legends or Dota or Heroes of the Storm or any of these games that I talk about, you can be trapped inside a game for 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour. I played a Dota game that lasted 75 minutes one time, and either team decided to be turtling in their base. And if you're playing support in that game, you're pretty much just waiting for stuff to happen. You know, you could go and die off cooldown. It's not going to really matter until the carries of the game are ready to fight and they're online. And sometimes sieging in that game is going to be tough. There's no fixed timer. The games can just take forever. Pokemon Unite, on the other hand, though, as bad as things can get, you're only stuck in the game for 10 minutes, and it's not that bad. You're out of the game after that. And that's nice. You know, you can pick up the game, play a couple games, get frustrated with games, because all games get frustrating at some point, and then just walk away. I love that about Pokemon Unite, and I think a lot of you do too. And finally, the future. Yes, things might not feel amazing right now. Yes, the game is in a poor state, no matter if you're playing solo queue, trio queue, 5-stack, and if you want to hear my thoughts on that, I've already talked about it once. I don't need to get into it again. That being said, I can see a future for this game that makes it just exciting to play. Just imagine 3 years from now, you know, Pokemon Unite receives constant updates the way we have for the last 2 years now. And we have a new map come out every year. We have, you know, almost 10 new Pokemon come out every year. In a couple years time, we'll be at 4 to 5 ranked maps available. We could be at 70 to 80 Pokemon available to play. And I imagine a world in ranked where you load into the game, it randomly assigns you a map, right? One of 5 different maps, all that have different end game objectives. Maybe some of them are 12 minutes long, maybe some of them are 15 minutes long. And different Pokemon have different strengths in those games. The layout could be different. Maybe some maps could, you know, really benefit Crustle with Rock Tomb or Barrier from Mime. Maybe others really benefit having a late game carry like Cinderace or Greninja. And, you know, maybe some maps favor early game Pokemon. Like the varying different maps and the balance that could come with it seems really, really exciting to me. And if, you know, the developers can hone in on a couple key things that people have problems with, which I do think they'll get to eventually. They are a business and they do want to succeed. I could see a future for this game that's really, really, really bright. But, you know, it'll take some time. I'm down to be patient. I recommend you guys be patient as well, because I think the game has a lot in store for it. And remember, you know, at the end of the day, Pokemon Unite is just a game, right? If you're not enjoying it at a particular time, you don't have to play it, right? I'm happy for you to voice your concerns. I'm happy to voice my concerns at the same time. But we can simply not play the game for a little bit and then come back. I see a lot of people say, I'm uninstalling Pokemon Unite. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, you know, you could just let it be, sit in your app drawer unless you're running low on space. Just take a break, come back to it. Things get better, things get worse. It's just natural progression of live service games. Games have bad periods, have good periods. Maybe right now isn't the best period, but I think the game has a lot going for it still and a really, really bright future. So I'm still really excited for what's in store. Also, isn't this cool? How the Bunnelby evolve at the end of the game. Anyways, tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me what you love about Pokemon Unite. I read every single comment that was posted on my last Inder Notes video, and obviously I can't get to responding to all of them, but I do love reading them. So give me your feedback. Let me know what you're thinking, and I'll see you next time.